half-baked plans and half-smashed pies this week on The Hapless Heroes.
We don't need the water.
Why'd you make it?
I had to.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Hapless Heroes podcast. I'm Francesco. Tonight, I will be your host and DM as we continue this adventure in the land of time and cities that no longer exist. Before we get into that, I'm going to introduce our awesome cast. Starting on my virtual left, we have Dave playing Zero Valen's Avatar of War.
Greetings and salutations.
Mike as Lord and Captain Quinn Southwind.
Always at my service.
Nicole as Boris the Butcher.
This dress is the worst thing ever.
Zach as Pregnart.
Where can we get another pie?
Phil as Hedrick the Entertainer.
Oh, Pregnart, you got a little some stuck to there. Let me get that for you.
Thank you.
And John as Lord Jarrell the Light.
Is the pie really essential to the whole plan?
James, a.k.a. Hoblet, still can't join us for this particular session here, but trust that Hoblet is up to something. And we will hopefully hear back from him very soon.
That time is still ticking.
It's going to be real awkward if y'all reset before he gets back.
Or maybe that's exactly how he returns. We reset and there he is.
Speaking of which, I think last week we had a bit of a chase through the streets with a bit of a Maven the Baker situation and a runaway dwarf with some fishy pies. Y'all had managed to figure out how to deal with the authorities so that now at least no one's been arrested and y'all could get back to just figuring out this sort of half-baked plan that you have involving bringing some sort of get-well-soon present to Ebenezer's house, assuming that he has a son that is injured, based on the assumptions.
Nobody being arrested.
The plan is not even
a huge
half
win
baked
for us.
Yeah,
the plan isn't even half-baked anymore. The baking is gone. There is no baking. This is not a baked plan.
Well, let's try to...
We still have flowers and remnants of a pie.
So I guess let's see if what we can do with these ingredients. So we're going to open right back up. Y'all are just still in the streets of Uhl. You guys are in the 9th Ward, not too far from where the gated community that Ebenezer lives in resides. So, I think at this point maybe we were collecting ourselves. We just kind of dealt with the authorities, and you have some pies that are in considerably rougher shape than they were before. The flowers are fine though.
Yeah, the flowers are great. Let's bring them. Let's drop them off.
I could create 45 pounds of chocolate. Felt like that would be
I love
beneficial.
how when John suggests the create food in water spell, like whatever he wants to create, like he wants to just take one thing and make 45 pounds of it, not create
just the maximum amount,
like 45 pounds of like a varied like meal or several courses of anything. No, give me like It's like, no, I want 45 pounds of sausage and bacon. I want 45 pounds of pancakes.
I also want to clarify, it doesn't say up to 45 pounds. It just says straight up 45 pounds.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, if we're making
allows for no nuance.
If we're making 45 pounds of chocolate, are there Girl Guides in Uhl? Boris can work with this.
Wait a sec. Wait, Girl Guides? You mean Girl Scouts?
Yeah, they call them Girl Guides
Girl
in Canada.
Scouts and yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, this
is an international episode.
Today we learned.
Girl
I mean-
Guide cookies.
Yeah.
I mean,
Are
It's
we
entirely
into
possible.
Are we making 45 pounds of Thin Mints? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, and then we're bringing 20 pounds of them.
We already
elsewhere,
had this
including
argument before,
25.
and James is vehemently opposed. No, I say vehemently opposed. He's cool with Thin Mints, but those are not his Girl Scout cookie of choice.
I mean, that's fine, and he can register his vote next time he's here to register his vote. But until such a time,
Thin Mints?
It's Thin Mints.
Zero leans into the group a little. The salesperson angle might actually be one of our better approach strategies here. That would at least get us to the door without suspicion. I'm not sure I can say rolling up with advanced knowledge of an injury in the home and flowers would quite ring the same.
Are we committing to the fact that there's Girl Guides / Girl Scouts in Ool?
We don't know.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
Like, do these people know
History
who
check.
Girl Guides are?
This is any.
And
Does
we are
anyone?
girls.
I was gonna say, does anyone actually care if they do exist or not? That would want to make a history check. I'm gonna roll some percentile dice over here myself.
I'm good with
I'll make a
history
history
checks.
check,
I
but I
don't
have a
know
good
if I'll
one.
know the history of the Girl Scouts until during.
I feel like if
Girl Guides. We're
I've done
operating with the.
traveling as I have.
We're operating
Yeah.
with the international nomenclature.
We're on the Canadian model, where there's Girl Guides, but there's also Scouts Canada, but that has both boys and girls in it.
I've rolled a 26 for history.
Oh wow!
And I rolled an 88 on my percentile die, which indicates to me that yes, they definitely do exist.
Perfect.
Could Hedrick cast mending on the pie?
What kind of things does mending allow you to fix?
It says a single break or tear in an object you touch. The examples are a broken chain link, 2 halves of a broken key, a torn cloak, a leaking wineskin. As long as the break and tear is no longer than 1 foot in any dimension, you mend it, leaving no trace of the former damage. It can also physically repair a magic item or construct, but the spell can't restore magic to such an object. So
It
it's
just says
construct-
object. It
it's
just says
complicated
object.
stuff. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a single
it does
material.
just say object, right? I mean, the examples they give, none of them are food. However, it doesn't specifically say that they can't be food. So, in my rule of cool brain and in my rules interpretation of this moment, I think that you probably could cast mending on the pie, and at least fix the breaks in it.
Yeah, that's what Hedrick would do, and he'll hand the pie back over to Pregnar.
Yeah, so whether or not anything else
Hooray.
might be wrong with it, cosmetically, it looks like it is still brand new.
There might be some dirt.
I was gonna
Perfect
Is
pieces.
it edible?
The pies
Is it
were in
still
boxes.
edible?
Yeah, the
pies
box
Yeah,
were
they
was
were
right.
they were sealed. Yeah.
Good.
Jarrell
Wow,
had his hand
this
up.
looks like a brand new pie.
Jarrell had his hand up ready to create 45 pounds of Thin Mints. Do we still want the cookies?
Yeah, we do.
Why
Yes.
not? Why not?
Yes.
Those are broke.
As I say, this is a group that wants all available options.
Hold on. Should we go somewhere less conspicuous? Because we're still standing in the middle of the street, aren't we?
There's like an alleyway behind the building.
Yeah,
right
we're-
there.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we're in
we're
an
still
alleyway.
behind the-
All right, as long as we're in an alleyway, we'll get some alleyway cookies.
Makes me feel so dirty.
Yeah.
Back alley cookies.
Yep. So Jarrell kind of raises his hand. Yellow light comes out, and onto the ground in front of you, it's a giant pile, 45 pounds worth of Thin Mints, not in boxes.
Just directly on the ground.
boxes.
I can't create the boxes.
Are they at least in
It's a
sleeves?
pile of cookies.
Maybe this is why we should just go making cookies from nothing in a back alley somewhere.
So there's just a pile of Thin Mints on the ground.
What do we want for our drink?
Perhaps a container?
Do we have one?
Well, Boris, can't you
Hypothetically,
just hold on
Jarrell, what
pocket?
happens if you just spawn a drink from nothing over the ground?
I mean, selling
make the
Thin
cookies
Mints out
for
of
us.
my pocket seems like a little sketchy. That seems like maybe a fake girl guide.
Also, right now you are currently dressed up in like period appropriate clothing for a young, like, a prestigious lady.
Oh, right.
Oh, hey, I have an idea. For decency's sake, you do have petticoats, correct?
Of course.
Good. Hold out the front of the skirt. We're just gonna start dumping cookies into the front of it. Just like carry it like.
While you're dumping the cookies, 30 gallons of water is slowly coming out of the spell.
Are the cookies getting wet?
if you are creating water along with it, then you it would probably appear or be summoned in some sort of very cursory container. I don't think you would just spawn like a blob of water that just drops and is immediately wasted. I feel like that doesn't work.
Can the cookies be in containers then?
Sure. Only if you describe to me what the containers and labeling on said containers looks like.
They're little brown boxes, or not brown box. They're little green boxes.
Green boxes.
Green boxes. And they have girl guides of Telduria or whatever, Uhl or on the front. I'm not sure. They'd probably just be your generic Girl Scout looking girl on the front, right? With the green outfits and everything.
Period appropriate clothing, but yes, sure.
But still plaid.
Yes.
Is
sure.
I don't know.
I mean, you're creating this box right now. So whatever you are describing here is now what will happen.
That sounds accurate. Should there be dwarven, a little dwarven girl with a little beard? And then
surfing.
No,
surfing for the thin mints.
Make her
right?
surfing.
Yep. And then we just have 30 1-gallon pitchers of water along with it.
So they're just like they're just lined up like on the ground or whatever, right? Just like all these pitchers of water, like.
Yep.
Who's carrying this water?
We don't need the water.
And why'd you make it?
I had to. Part of the spell.
This is peak D&D, folks.
I'd like to think of it as he dispenses the water, and he can these jugs appear.
Or you could just or
pulling boxes of cookies out of my sleeve and pouring water.
I'm flabbergasted by John's literal interpretation of this spell.
It doesn't say up to or anything. It just says you create 45 pounds of food and 30 gallons of water.
But this is what I love the most about it, because it's up to the spellcaster, right? In this case, Jarrell, to determine how all of these things manifest, and this is how Jarrell is choosing for them to manifest.
Yep.
That's just
sense,
how his brain works.
Jarrell is a rule follower.
Yeah. Most of the time. He also does kind of disregard that when he really has no choice, when everyone else decides to just go do something, so.
Jarrell picks up one of the things of water and just starts drinking out of the gallon pitcher while you're figuring out what to do with all the boxes of cookies.
Hydration is important, kids.
I imagine it's like a spring water.
Oh, it's delicious. Would you like some?
Yeah, it is some of the cleanest drinking water you will ever have in your life.
Yeah, I need to whip my whistle here. Get the pops ready. Hey, does this taste the same way it normally does? I'm just curious. I mean, Valen here has not ascended, so the power you have is still the same?
This still works.
Last time I used this, it was made into soup almost immediately, so I'm not really sure.
It seems to be holding up. I do remember, and again, this was more of a meta explanation for you guys, but to kind of just give you a peek of again, you guys are very high level, all of you. And Jarrell has literally he's sort of done a lot of the things he needed to do, and Valen, nominated him as her official champion of justice So it would suffice to say that, things are different in this time period you're in, but Jarrell, in and of himself now, possesses his own sort of almost like divine spark.
Right.
So that could be an explanation for why. I mean, things do feel a little bit different, and like I know, like I've explained a couple times, when Jarrell, when you're wearing the helmet of Valen, right? It just kind of always feels like there's just this slight ringing, like almost like like you have like tinnitus or something.
Yeah.
But it's barely noticeable unless like you're like somewhere quiet, right, where you're trying to actually like focus and listen in. But yes, you still are able to cast these spells, it seems, and create this food and water.
Maybe when we get back to our normal timeline, you could market this water. I mean, this tastes better than normal water. Maybe you could have your own brand of holy H2O.
Hedrick's over here already trying to essentially introduce capitalism to the people of this medieval world.
I mean, they have Girl Guides, so they have capitalism.
Yeah.
We're selling cookies right now.
True that.
You should. But Jarrell isn't a very marketable name. You need something a little more generic. Kelly's a good name. Might need a first initial in front of it, though.
Boo.
Something to workshop later.
So, okay, anyways, we've done a lot of talking about the cookies, but now we have the material, we have the things. What's the plan?
Well, while the water conversation's been going on, Boris has started taking some of the boxes of cookies, since there are 45 pounds of them, which I think is probably like 100 boxes of Girl Guide cookies or so.
Cookies. And they're just stashed in this alley.
Boris has gone into her satchel, because I remember saying that I had stashed my armor in there, right? So she's got into her satchel, opened a pocket of her armor, and is thrown a good chunk of the cookies into the nether of her armor.
Yeah, and you can see even with how compressed the leather armor is, to everybody else, as she's opening this pocket, you see it just kind of stretches beyond what you would imagine a pocket would be allowed to do, as she's just shoving all these boxes of cookies into the pocket.
Right.
And then I take a half dozen or so, however many could actually fit in the satchel afterwards, and have them tucked in but sticking out of the bag, so that it looks like I'm carrying a reasonable amount to be selling at once, for a 13-year-old child to be carrying at once.
Okay, interesting.
Whatever cookies are remaining, I'm assuming people are already starting to eat.
So this might help us get past some of the guards. Do we actually go door to door with this?
And are all of you going to roll up in there together being this is all of ours, this is our kid, all of
Hello,
us. We are all
the
this
Girl
person's
Guides.
guardian. Yeah, right?
So,
And Pet Frogman.
Right.
instead of doing that, do we have somebody who is passable as a reasonable adult, and B, able to do maybe a small limited stealth mission where we can just send a couple of stealthy people to do this instead of trying to jam all of us into Ebenezer's house and invariably clanking about and blowing the whole thing?
I could go invisible.
I was gonna say, I fucking knew Quinn was gonna suggest something like that. He was waiting.
How long does your invisibility last, though?
As
it's
long
regular-
as I want it to.
No. If he casts regular invisibility, he could probably make it last several hours, but greater invisibility only lasts a minute.
That's
Mhm.
right, yeah.
As long as I don't attack. With regular.
How should we separate? Should we, Hedrick and Quinn can go invisible on their own. Pragnod is relatively sneaky if he wants to be, I suppose. The two of us are the most difficult.
Do we
Well,
perhaps set up
Blocking to
a
zero.
signal and maybe keep the rest of us just off the premises in case something requires us to intervene? Because we're good for a big, fast, flashy intervention. Espionage, I don't think the two of us are so good for that.
I agree with you.
We can intervene with the best of them, though.
My mislead spell allows me to create the illusory double, and I go invisible for 1 hour.
But the double's still visible.
Well, yeah, somebody's got to babysit him. Because I can switch back and forth to move the double, but all I'm going to do is like hide in a closet or something, or find someplace inconspicuous.
What if I were to take off my armor and accompany Boris as her guardian while the other 3 go invisible? And you guard Hedrick's illusory double. He doesn't become invisible though, right?
We've had worse plans.
No.
You absolutely would be able to pass as the guardian of a child. You tend to, have guardian written all over you. Probably is actually engraved somewhere on that armor. There's a lot of it. He leans a little bit closer. It leans a little. There's a lot of engraving on that armor.
Jarrell is kind of looking. He got this out of a dragon's den, so who knows?
I hear a lot of ideas being thrown around, so I just want to see how this is all coming together now.
Jarrell would ask if Pregnart would help him out of his armor. And then we'll have to stash that in Boris's armor.
Since we have time to be changing armor, Boris is going to pull her armor on under her dress as well. So she's got that, equipped under everything. Because, proper time era dress.
You are going to be very uncomfortable.
She's going to be uncomfortable, but the dress will cover up enough that...
Yeah,
something,
but
something...
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead first.
Just leaning into the group. Something to keep in mind. Is that dress part of the Girl Guide uniform?
Oh, I suppose not.
It's a cool dress, though.
And it's a great dress, though.
But I mean, that dress was acquired when y'all were still going with the angle of the get well soon thing. So, I mean, actually,
Right.
honestly, no, that was just Boris had her own angle. That y'all just
let's say, Boris had her
hopped
own
on it.
angle, which
Yeah.
the dress might not have even had anything to do with that angle. Boris just might have wanted to feel pretty. It's Boris. We can't know for sure.
We'll
Nicole is
never know
smiling.
now.
Yeah, right.
Should we get a more convincing Girl Guide outfit?
Or just make one. I mean, Boris does have a disguise kit. I would say,
Right.
Boris, you probably could
And all she
reasonably
needs is
fashion
plaid.
a disguise out of materials you already have in that kit.
Yeah, okay, so I reasonably fashion a Girl Guide costume.
Yes, but I will make you make a check for it because this is fun for me.
Excellent. What check do I
So-
need to make?
Tool checks, the way that they work in 5th edition, we haven't done one of these in a little bit, right? You take, if you're proficient in a tool, right, which I think you are proficient with disguise kits, so you're going to add your
Yeah.
proficiency bonus to the roll, and I have to assign essentially an ability score to tie this tool check to. So in this case, what I'm going to make it is an intelligence disguise kit check, because, and the reason I'm tying it to intelligence is that never really having encountered Girl Guides before, you're going to have to essentially go from what's on the box of cookies to base your costume idea off of. So you're not, like things like maybe troop numbers or like any of the other like fine details are going to be tied to your intelligence and and that type of thing. So it'd be
True.
intelligence plus proficiency on the roll.
Now, important question, just for, the scope of things. Do the Girl Guides continue for the next 160 years spread, and do they exist in Boris's hometown?
Being that you are in a very small barony, a barony that is much smaller than like the larger kingdoms and things like that, I don't think that sort of thing would be as prevalent there when it's mostly just like, your common people and villagers and farmers and stuff like that. Less less Girl Guide stuff made it over to that area.
No Girl
of
Guides in my
Teldoria.
hometown. Okay,
No.
perfect. Doesn't affect my role in any way. I was just curious if she would be based
Now, because
on
you're
her
proficient,
modern
right?
knowledge.
Obviously, 10 pretty much is your baseline, right? Because of your reliable talent as a rogue. So really, it's, I mean, you know, there's a minimum that you can get here. It's not that you're going to fail miserably. I'm just kind of curious to see how good of a disguise this is, so that maybe like for later checks, for people who may be skeptical or whatnot, that'll help me determine how difficult it'll be for them to see through your disguise.
Yeah, I have a +1 in intelligence, so I think 11 is my minimum.
Plus your proficiency. So it actually 16 would be the minimum you could get on the check.
Could
So
I
give me a roll.
inspire her?
How would you inspire her?
I would tell her, you know, when I was being interrogated up there, I really talked you up.
Oh, okay. So yes, you have bardic inspiration. Is that kind of what you like? What
Yeah.
you mean? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't like your die roll, right, or if you want to add some, you have your bardic inspiration die, which is what do you have now, Hedrick? Is it a D10 still, or is it a D12?
It's a D12.
Hell yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's up there.
Just gonna go ahead and use my bardic inspiration.
Teamwork.
Oh, that's much better. Okay, 10 + 2 plus my baseline was 10 + 1.
Plus your
Right.
proficiency. Right? You have to add your proficiency bonus too, because you are proficient with disguise
Yes.
kits.
28.
Oh yeah. Very good. Very convincing disguise.
I look
Does it
just
include
like
the
girl in
surfboard?
book.
It does not include the surfboard, no. She has the wherewithal to know that Girl Guides don't just walk around with surfboards.
They do on the cookie box.
But yeah, so yeah, you've created the costume.
With my costume, I have created a tiny little pin of a surfboard that looks like the surfboard on the box,
On the
and
box
like
of cookies,
affixed
nice.
it to my Girl Guide costume.
Nice,
I have earned my surfing badge.
perfect. Yep, it's a very convincing disguise.
So Jarrell, I guess, is in his
Appropriate
ceremonial
clothes?
robes.
No, you're appropriate clothes. You have appropriate clothes, don't you, with Jarrell?
I don't think so.
It was the funniest thing to ever appear on our character sheets, and so I just like to reference it whenever possible. That appropriate clothes was something that many of us had on our character sheet.
Oh, I have fine clothes.
Ooh, what do your fine clothes look like?
I guess it's just like some like kind of dressier pants, a nice white shirt with a coat. Kind of look like a rich dad.
Perfect. Okay. So Jarrell's got his rich dad outfit on. Boris is dressed up in a appropriate Girl Guides uniform. Are you the only two then that are going to be going in? What are
Visibly.
Zero? Yeah. What are Zero and Pregnar doing? Are they just going to be babysitting essentially the Hedrick body double, like he's your drunk friend?
Zero is, I won't say undisguisable, but he would be very difficult to make look like anything besides, just stacking some boxes on him and making him look like a pallet truck or something like that.
Right. I was going to say, 'cause
So-
a person the size of Terry Crews walks around like you're going to turn heads.
Yeah, like he's ginormous. He's a thick boy, and he's probably, when he walks, it, because that kind of machinery is gonna weigh like a good 600 pounds walking around town. So, yeah, not super stealthy. So I was thinking, find an out of the way alley, maybe not entirely unlike this, but within shouting distance of Villa Ebenezer, if at all possible. So if and by the way, we'll have to come up with some sort of good audible or visual signal if the time comes when intervention is necessary, but that I would be close enough to hear said intervention.
Well, what would the signal
Yeah.
be then?
I think Pregnard is equally undisguisable. So
What do we want the warning signal to be?
What's the code word? Or do we need to create some sort of visual?
That should be up to you guys going in, so it's going to depend on what you can do or make.
Versus looking through our pockets.
Hedrick, are you able to make any loud noise?
Mm-hmm. Or press to digitize something?
Yep. I have my, I have my amplifier, and I have my instruments. Beyond that, I'm going to have to use magic.
Oh, you have the pot of casting. Excellent. You'll be able to reach me from any amount of distance.
And everyone else.
Everyone else within 1,000 feet will be able to.
I feel like if Pregnart and I need to be called in, everyone else within 1,000 feet are an afterthought.
Hmm.
True. Well, I feel like I should go under the guise of an entertainer from the Girl Guides. I don't want to be just some drunken buffoon following around a father and daughter situation.
Are you certain you don't want to go invisible?
Well, yeah, I could do that, but if I end up having to be seen, I'm gonna do the best I can. Other than that, I'll just stay quiet.
Oh. Even Hedrick, if you alone are arrested, you just vacate the body. What happens to that body after you vacate it and go back to your regular one? Does it stick around or does it vanish off into the ether somewhere?
I am truly only ever myself. The illusory double is only temporarily under my control when I choose it. And if anything happens, if the spell ends, I return to wherever my invisible self is.
But say you didn't end, because haven't we seen you kind of hop back and forth between the two?
True. I could stay my illusory double, but if anybody tries to touch me, I'm pretty sure they have to make a save to see if I'm an illusion.
Aha.
So I cannot be touched, but ironically enough, my illusory double can interact with things. It's only creatures who touch me have to make the save.
Aha. So at the very least, if you alone are arrested, detained, or otherwise apprehended, you've got an out.
I suppose so, yeah. So you're saying keep the invisible self and the illusory double on the inside.
Keep the invisible self with us. It's just an extra layer of protection if things go sideways.
Wait. You want the invisible Hedrick with you and not the double, the visible double?
I thought the illusory double was going in, and the invisible yet very real Hedrick was going to be inert but guarded by myself and Pregnart.
But then if a visible Hedrick is showing up, what is he doing there?
So I'm either just playing music or whatever, but I feel like, okay, here's my bit. While they're selling the cookies, I'm gonna have the opportunity to look around unseen. And I'm pretty stealthy myself. I can handle my own.
Right. So I think he's suggesting that invisible Hedrick goes in with invisible Quinn.
Yeah, I think that's the best bet.
Okay. So what does the illusory double do then?
Standing next to you with a blank
Standing next to y'all, right? And you guys are essentially.
Why do we even have the illusory double then?
Because it has to have. Unless you just.
That's how he goes invisible.
So
he can't go invisible without the illusory double. Aha!
It lasts for an hour, whereas my greater invisibility song only lasts for a minute. It's a short song.
Oh. That was the part of this I was missing, is that it's the necessary component of the invisibility is that the illusory double has to be created.
Right, because he's using mislead as that.
See, I had it the other way around.
I see. So essentially, you guys are going to be weekend. You're going to be weekend at Bernie's babysitting his illusory double, while invisible him and invisible Quinn essentially try to get in behind and around.
So we can call him Dedrick.
Yeah, sure. We'll call him Dedrick. And you know what? I'm going to try to have some fun with Zero, Pregnart, and Dedrick as we cut back and forth between these groups, if this is how we're going to split things off, because I want to have our weekend at Bernie's moments with, essentially dumbstruck Hedrick double, right? Because when you're not occupying its psyche, it's just kind of sitting there pretty motionless and just kind of like dumb. So
Yeah, I mean, so
it's just
says-
idle,
Yeah.
which is gonna be fun for me.
Picturing it like a broken NPC, like he's just walking into a wall
Just
in the alley
T-posing.
over and over.
T-posing.
So, I can make it gesture, speak, and behave in whatever way I choose. So
Is it only when you are occupying its like when you like when you are looking through its eyes or occupying its consciousness, or can you just
So
like set
first
like a
thing that it
default
says-
action for it to do?
First thing that it says is the double lasts for the duration, but my invisibility ends if you attack or cast a spell. So the first part is you become invisible at the same time.
Right.
The second part is I can use my action to move my illusory double up to twice my speed and make a gesture, speak, and behave in whatever way I choose. You can see through its eyes and hear through its ears if you were located where it is. On each of your turn, as a bonus action, you can switch from use it again to your senses and back again.
Yeah.
While
So I
using its
think that.
senses, blinded and deafened.
So I think that right because of the fact that you're blinded and deafened when you're using its senses. I'm going to say that the illusory double is essentially blinded and deafened when you are not occupying its consciousness, because otherwise it's just sitting there as sort of a stand-in for you. You could
That makes sense.
probably maybe give it a very default or very basic, like idle action to perform while it's just standing or sitting there. But outside of that, like it's going to be up to Zero and Pregnart to make illusory or Hedrick look like he's actually alive and breathing and, you know, a normal person to a passerby. That's kind of how
Picturing-
I want to have my fun with this.
I'm picturing the illusory double right now, just like standing in the alley holding a box of cookies, just waving with the other hand in like a circle. At nobody.
Well,
That could work.
I have ideas, but I don't want to give you the ideas. I want to see how you guys handle it. So we're just gonna that seems to be what our plan is. So really,
I love it.
when you guys are ready, unless there's any other planning you all want to do, the stage is set.
Nope. I mean, I guess Boris and I are walking up to the front gate, right?
All right, so Han, you guys are going to be walking up to the front gate, right? Phil and, Hedrick and Quinn are, I'm assuming, are going to start their whole invisibility shtick. How long does yours last for, Quinn? Because you get higher levels. Regular invisibility can be like 8 hours, I think, up to,
Yeah, I was just reading it.
if I recall correctly.
Let me get back to it. Sorry.
Just so that we have all the details. Like, we know Hedrick's lasts for an hour, but, like, you know, it might be important to note if yours does last longer, just in case, like, you know, if we have any timing constraints, we can address them.
No.
It just is. What's the duration? Is it an hour?
Yes.
Okay.
Because so at higher levels, it's just I can make more people.
Oh, okay. You can't increase the duration, so it's also an hour.
Mhm.
Okay, that's fine. So an hour is the time frame we're working with then. That's good. I can work with that.
I mean, before I have to peace out and like reset.
Yeah, essentially. But Hedrick too. So you guys will just like try to cast them, synchronize as best as possible, so they end around the same time.
Our watches are synchronized.
Yep. Where
Does
are
that-
we putting Hedrick's double? And where are Zero and Pregnart going to be hanging out? So if I were to I'm going to give you a brief description of kind of what the general gate area is and like what your surroundings are as you approach this more residential area and where like the gated community also resides. This is mostly residential, right? Like while you guys were in like a very commercial area before, you're really mostly surrounded by cobbled streets with like very nice homes, and then the gated community itself like has a that wall with those towers I had mentioned, right? And those 4 guards on duty. And just like, streets that run along the wall and then just kind of go off into other like residential, streets where other houses line. There's not really any public gathering spaces per se, like in view of the gate. However, like, there may be some side streets or things like that you might be able to like hang out down so that you can at least hear something loud, but not necessarily be in view of maybe the guards. You just be hanging out though in like front of people's houses. So I guess like how where do you want to place yourselves, or how do you want to look as inconspicuous as you possibly can? I really want to establish sort of like that scene so that when we cut back, that's what we're looking at.
Probably up to Zero and Pregnant where they want to park themselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So imagine you're like literally in like a residential community that is just like, part of it is gated off where like there are some like larger homes and whatnot, right? Like how would you blend in or attempt to blend in if you're just going to be standing around for a bit? Or what would you start doing at least?
I'm gonna be I'll be a pet. So Pregnart's going to pose as a pet.
Okay.
I'll do this in character. I'll say,
Well, I can just be like a pet, and I can wear a leash and a collar, and you can pretend that I'm going around and sniffing.
How does that address what Hedrick's body is doing?
well, Hedrick that explains why we're in the neighborhood, and Hedrick can be doing whatever. I can be Hedrick's service frog.
And Zero, how are you fitting into this scene that Pregnart is crafting?
Okay, excellent. So we've got a bit of an idea. We've got a Hedrick. Let's say maybe he's a bit of an eccentric enough to need a service frog. Well, a wealthy eccentric like that needs a bodyguard, no?
Uh-huh.
Definitely.
Fantastic. So I think our wealthy eccentric Hedrick is going to take his frog for a walk in perhaps a local park. There's got to be some sort of park around here. Which people love their parks.
There is a park, I mean, not too far from where you are, but you would be far enough away from the gates where, it might take you like a couple minutes to kind of get back to where everyone's entering. It's not like there's a park right next door to this community.
I mean, we can never be so lucky, but, next door to that community is just, more stately manors, I assume?
Yeah, more stately manors, and then you guys aren't too far from the gates to the 10th ward as well, to the north, because you are like the northern part of the 9th ward.
Sounds like my illusory double is more of a rock star than I am.
Oh, we've all known enough rock stars to know that the whole lifestyle is an illusion, so I suppose it's apropos.
So that's certainly an idea. We can start with that, with the Pregnart being the pet and Hedrick's body, which is going to be rather motionless until he comes in back and assigns it some actions to do. This is going to be a lot to maintain. This is going to be a lot for Hedrick to maintain.
Yeah.
Instead of just Quinn using a higher level spell slot and making them both invisible.
I do have I have an idea, but I'm not going to suggest it because, again, I'm not here.
I mean, using a third level spell to make two of us invisible is not that big of an issue.
I think we've already settled on what the plan is.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is too fun of a plan to not do it.
I'm just saying
Okay.
that's not why I didn't chime in to do it.
I'll say that obviously, like, Zero, you can try to almost like lead along the body double, but you're gonna have to, like, if Hedrick is not controlling it, you're gonna have to help make this dude look convincing. And Pregnart's gonna have to figure that out too, because again, the
Make
body
him a
double
Hedrick
is not
puppet.
gonna really be able to do a lot of stuff on its own without Hedrick influencing it to do so.
So the first thing Zero is going to do is literally pick up the Dedrick by the waist and just literally carry it under one arm like it's a cord of wood or something.
Perfect. Okay.
All the while, like, I'm assuming that Dedrick is just standing there, like, except he's doing it at a 90-degree angle now as he's being carried.
Okay. Where is Pregnart the service frog at then in the mix?
Walking
Walking alongside
them.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The scene
Or,
is set.
I mean, hopping along.
Y'all are just-
I'll try to be more animalistic.
Y'all are doing your best to just inconspicuously walk through the neighborhood and stay nearby. So we'll check back in on
That's
you in
the
a little
thing.
bit,
That's
and
the
we'll go
one.
right to the gate. We got an invisible Quinn, we got an invisible Hedrick following Jarrell and Boris.
Yep.
When you arrive at the gate, there are 2 guards posted up front, and they kind of put their hands up and be like, oh, state your business.
Oh, hello, good sir. You know what? You do it, darling. Tell her what you're here for.
Boris looks up at the guard and then looks down at the ground again, and then looks up at the guard and then rocks back and forth on her heels and her toes, kind of looking at the ground a little bit, and then looks up and really quickly says, "Excuse me, sir, would you like to buy some cookies?" And then looks at the ground again really quickly.
Can you make me a deception roll, please?
We all know it's gonna succeed.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a
It's
D&D
Boris.
podcast after all, so we gotta
Yeah.
just pretend like we roll dice.
It's good to send in the
21.
carrot. Oh, nice.
What's that?
21.
Oh wow,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
that was close actually. I rolled a 19 on the inside, so.
Whew, I didn't roll awesome, but I didn't roll terrible.
Oh, and so you hear the guy go, "Oh, that's adorable." Jerry, you got any change? And the other guard goes like, "Oh man, hold on. What kind of cookies you got? Which one? What do you have left?"
Boris doesn't actually answer, but pulls a box of cookies out of her bag and holds them up directly in front of his face,
All right,
kind of
yeah, so
shyly
they're-
looking at the ground.
Thin Mints.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, both of the guards are just like, "Oh, my favorite." Okay, yeah. We'll take a couple bites. Are you here to sell to the folks here? I'm assuming.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Jarrell is just doing the proud dad smile.
Don't cause any trouble, and they hand you some coinage, right, to pay for a couple boxes each of Thin Mints. And they're like, "Just don't cause any trouble, and if people say no, just say thank you, walk away. People here don't typically like to be bothered too much, but we
Oh,
can't."
no worries. She's very well behaved. And Jarrell pats her on the top of the head as we're starting to walk in.
Boris beams up at Jarrell.
All right. Thanks. We'll see you later. And they let you right in. Yeah, no issues. You guys are straight in. The gates are opened, and they kind of step out of the way to let you enter. There's enough room for Quinn and Hedrick to kind of just kind of push themselves in behind them before they close the gates behind you.
Okay, and how far in, in the rows of houses?
So imagine, let's imagine if you will, like a large cul-de-sac that's built onto a hill, right? Whereas as you're kind of climbing the hill, there's a lot of room between these mansions essentially, right? But you guys know that Ebenezer's is the third on the left as you're kind of climbing the hill.
Okay. Boris, do you want to go to the other houses? We do have 100
Yeah.
boxes of cookies.
Boris actually, okay, if it's the third house on the left, then yeah, Boris would want to go to those first 2 houses on the left, right? The guards are right there that
Right.
just saw
That-
us. So
And
there's-
yeah,
and-
we
and-
knock on the
from
doors in
Hedrick
order.
scouting, right? And from Hedrick scouting, you know that there's also one in each of the towers that's attached to the gate.
Yeah,
Okay. So yeah, we'll go to each house.
yeah.
Hedrick's gonna try to whisper to Quinn in some way to just say, "Hey man, we should stick together till we know where we're going. I'm not going up to all of these houses. I'm gonna hang back."
Now, okay, we can't see each other either, right?
You can hear each other.
I'm already toward the third house.
Okay.
You're whispering to nothing.
Okay. So Hedrick's gonna assume that you heard him and make his way up to the third house.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm already halfway there.
Makes sense. Checks out.
So
So Jarrell and
y'all have
Boris
essentially
go-
beelined it to the house.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. You guys. So we'll start at the first house, though. You know, there's obviously no doorbell, so there's just a nice. There's like a golden like knocker on the front in the shape of a lion's head, with like in its mouth is the ring that you would knock on the door with.
Jarrell will knock.
Okay. Yeah, you can hear it's a hollow knock, and after a few moments, the door opens and you can see someone dressed, in very formal attire. They look as though they might be like a butler of some kind, and he's very clean shaven, slicked back gray hair, and he kind of with his nose turned up looks at you. Yes, and who may I be speaking with?
Go ahead, darling.
Boris gives like the exact same routine.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. It's practiced, and the
Like
man just
to the T, just the rocking on the feet, looking at the ground.
sheepishly,
Yeah.
selling cookies. And the man just says, "I don't believe that the men and women of the house will be eating any cookies at all. We appreciate this, but we must say no."
Yep, Boris doesn't fight or waste any time. She just goes, "Okay, thank you," and starts walking back down the
Correct.
stairs.
They close the door.
Yep.
Okay.
As we're
Yep.
walking to the second house, Jarrell will say, "We need a reason to actually get into Ebenezer's house."
Well, I mean, you
Just
have
try to,
you have two people who are going to probably try to get in no matter what.
yeah. But if
Um,
Boris can think of something to get her way into the house itself, that would be gold.
Just has to use the bathroom.
That's what I was. Yeah.
Hey,
Yep,
hey,
that,
hey,
that was my.
you're not here, Zach.
That's what I was thinking, but I don't know if Jarrell's supposed to be pushing the
I'm just
line
an
of
inner
line.
voice.
That's
Right.
okay. Boris was definitely already thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we go to the second house and we knock.
Yeah, as you guys are doing that, I'm actually going to address Hedrick and Quinn real quick. You guys approach Ebenezer's mansion. It's midday. I think we had established, right? So, it's hard to tell if there's lights on, right? Because, if there's any candles lit or anything like that, or if any rooms are occupied just from looking outside at a cursory glance, because it's the middle of the day. So as you approach, right, the door is kind of set more on the right side of the front of the house. There's a patio that kind of stretches along the front, and then there's a walled off fenced or more fenced off garden area to your left, in front of the house on the side. You can even see there's even a small little pond there. It's just really very beautiful. Looks like very well maintained flowers, shrubbery, all the types of different things. Sort of this really pretty garden. Like I said, most of the curtains are drawn in the front of the house, but there are, two curtains next to the double doors, or two windows next to the double doors in front of the house that are open. You can see there's you can kind of see into the house a little bit, but it just looks like an atrium in there. It doesn't appear to be anybody as you're walking up to it. That's what you see from the front. There's, grass and lawn or whatever, right? Along both sides of the house. So you can easily walk around the house if you wanted to. But I just kind of want to know where you guys are starting your investigation of the property.
How tall is it again?
It's two stories.
2 stories, typical roof. How many chimneys?
There appear to be 1, 2, 3 chimneys.
Okay.
Are you gonna Santa Claus it?
I might have to Santa Claus my way out of there.
You can just wiggle your nose and just pop up.
That's if the flue is open.
But yeah, so that's but is that what do you guys actually? Are you because you
Yeah.
guys are not communicating with each other, right? Quinn has gone off and done his own thing, and Hedrick's
Bill,
gone off
Bill
and done his own.
potentially could be communicating to me and I wouldn't know.
Right.
Hedrick's talking to himself. All right, I'm gonna go around back just to see if there's anybody I can spot through the windows. All right, move my way around back, see the little pond, see this little.
Yeah, so you're going around the left side of the house. So,
Sure.
Yeah, as you're going around there, there's also you can see there's there's a corner of the house. It kind of comes back out. So the part of the garden, two sides of the garden are flush with the house, and then so it's kind of the whole house would be a rectangle if you included the garden. Otherwise, right? It's just the walls of the house kind of are cut off a little bit. But there is another room.
A flower garden, vegetable garden.
It's more of what it looks to be, just like a calm, somewhere to hang out. It doesn't necessarily anything be growing food here. It's more well trimmed landscaping and things like that, and I guess an actual installed pond. There's fish inside the pond, swimming
It's
around.
more
and
botanical
stuff.
than anything.
Yeah, it's a botanical garden, not a functional or practical garden.
Is there some sort of cobblestone path in between these flower beds and stuff? I mean,
Yes. So there's a gate on the side of it. There's not a gate from the front, but as you're walking around the side, you can see there's a gate that enters the garden. There is an entry to the home, and there's a little, just an ornamental bridge that it goes over this there's a small pond that's kind of surrounding it. And there's bushes and things like that. There's some benches to sit down. You can see even on one of the benches there appears to be an old newspaper or something of the sort. Someone might have been just out here reading and just enjoying the calmness of it.
Okay. No,
There is a side entrance to the house here.
I was more just looking at the grounds and seeing if there was anything that he noticed, maybe layout wise. I was kind of thinking if there was a layout of stones, whether or not there may be something patterned out on the ground there signifying this property, but
No, nothing that indicative.
Taking the glance and moving back up to the front because he wants to make sure he's there when Jarrell and Boris get up to the door.
Yeah. So as far as the second house is concerned that you go to, I'll say that the actual the woman of the house actually answers and gets very excited when she sees somebody in a Girl Guides uniform and proceeds to start chatting you up. She excitedly exclaims, "Oh, I'll take as many as you can give. I'll take 15 boxes if you got them. If you don't have them all, I mean, just put me down for them, and you can come back and deliver them. I want as many as you can get."
Does my satchel have 15 boxes worth of space?
You had 45 pounds. Well, no.
They're all hidden in the pocket, right? So I
Right.
don't know how many boxes were actually visible in my satchel. I'm thinking probably a dozen.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, she wants a bunch. She's like, "Put me down for 15. If you don't have them, honey, it's okay. You can come back. Just tell the guards that you're coming to see Cheryl, okay?"
Of course, Cheryl. I can definitely bring you more cookies. And then
But she's doing the thing though where she's starting to make a conversation, asking you about how many merit badges you've got and how long you've been a Girl Guide for, yada yada, doing the thing where it's you guys are obviously trying to leave, but she is not getting the conversational cue that you want to leave. So you are just locked in conversation with this woman unless one of you finds you're out. Because she's asking questions, but not even waiting for your response. She's just continuing to ask the questions.
Jarrell will pipe in. Well, it was very pleasant to meet you. We have many more houses to get to. We will be back with more of your cookies, though.
Okay, just don't forget to come back to your girl Cheryl, okay? 15 boxes of Thin Mints, okay?
Of course.
See you, sweetie. It was so nice to meet you.
Hey, Boris bats her eyelashes at her.
Pulled from a real-life experience I had selling popcorn as a Boy Scout back in the day. There were some people who were absolute fucking fiends for that shit, so.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yeah, and now you make it up to you guys. Hedrick and Quinn, presumably, if you are also in front of the mansion, can see that Jarrell and Boris are approaching the house. Quinn, where are you right now? I know Hedrick kind of did a quick scout of the side, then came back around front. Where are you looking at? What are you investigating?
Yeah. I would say that I'm just kind of surveying the mansion itself, just kind of checking the windows, kind of seeing, kind of just getting myself a map of what the inside may look like based on what I can figure out from the outside.
Okay. What I will say is that if you've made your way around to check out the windows, most of them are all drawn. And in the back of the house, there is what appears to be some sort of like, maybe some sort of maintenance person doing like just general care to like the landscaping and bushes and things like that surround the property.
Okay.
Just one lone maintenance man trimming some hedges in the back of the house. There's also a well at the back of the house and a rear entrance towards the center of the structure.
I stay very far away from the said gardener.
Okay, sounds good. Jarrell and Boris, you approach the house of Ebenezer.
As we're approaching, Boris is very much doing the typical child that has to pee walk, like, one knee kind of bouncing in front of the other the whole time.
Okay, so you're doing that. The knocker on there's also a knocker on the front door here.
Jarrell knocks.
There's a bit of a delay. And then eventually a woman comes and answers the door. And she says, she looks sad. And she definitely looks like just a bit distracted as she answers the door, and she just says, I'm sorry, we're not taking any visitors today. Oh, I'm sorry. And she sees you in like your uniform, right? And Jarrell, as much as I'd love to buy some cookies, little girl, I just we're not in a position to do that right now. It's not really a good time.
I'm very sorry to hear that. It does appear, though, as she's doing the dance,
right,
he kind of defers to Boris for.
I'm also kind of like tugging on Jarrell's sleeve
right,
as I'm
right.
doing the dance.
I'm sorry to disturb you on this, what seems like a hard day. Would it be all right if my daughter just uses your restroom?
Oh, of course. I'm sorry. Just please, it's. I'll show you where it is, and then you can be on your way. Come with me. If you don't mind waiting here, sir, that just will be a moment. So she leaves you at the door, Jarrell, and leaves it like slightly ajar. She doesn't close it all the way. Boris,
how wide did she open that door?
I mean, she was standing in it. She had her hand on the door, and she just kind of like led Boris in and then closed it, but left it like slightly ajar. But it's just a crack.
Yeah.
As you enter the home, you see this. You're in this gorgeous foyer. The floors, there's like a red carpet as you enter the front door that has like this gold trim to it. Then the rest of the floor is like marble, like white and gray marble tile. There are some pillars here in the center that seem to be supporting what appear like almost like well, not in the center side. There's some pillars along that are supporting like a balcony railing that you can kind of look from upstairs down onto. There's a set of stairs to the to your right and left that kind of go up to this second floor balcony. To your left, you pass by a dining area, but what she does is she takes you straight through this foyer and through a door to the right, and there is a facility. But you managed to see that there was a dining area to your right or to your left as soon as you entered. Some other rooms to your right, and some stairs that go up, and and some doors that kind of lead off from this. But you were brought straight to the restroom on the first floor. Do you do anything in here? What's your plan? You're in, the door's closed.
Well, what happens when she drops me off at the restroom?
She just, she's like, she says, I'll be here when you're done. We'll, get you back to your dad.
Okay.
Make me a perception check.
$23.
23. As you kind of enter the restroom, you think you can hear, because there appears to be just some cursory ventilation in this home, not like HVAC or anything like that, right? But there just appears to be especially in what you would expect, an outhouse or an indoor restroom to be in this time period. There is running water here, because I told you about the aqueducts and whatnot that bring the water, running water and plumbing into the city. But there are some ventilation, things in here, like very small, but you feel like you can almost hear like some like moaning. You can't tell if it's moaning or crying, or there's just like it's almost this very faint sound. You can almost hear like it's coming through like the vents, just this very faint moaning. But we'll have to find out what that moaning sound is next week.
What?
On the Hapless Heroes podcast.
Oh my god.
No.
It's Moaning Myrtle.
It's a very restroom thing, so.
That's what I'm saying. Just jumping out of the toilets.
Yeah, sorry to do that to you, but, listen, these episodes have to end sometime, and, well, I just really enjoy finding cliffhangers wherever I possibly can. So, if you like us, my dear audience, you can find us on the internet. Join us on Twitter and look for us at Hapless Heroes. Zach's taken it over in recent weeks, months. By the time you listen to this, no idea, but we've been having some good time. We've posted random polls on there, saying some strange or interesting things that may or may not have anything to do with what's actually happening in the show, but it's really great.
That's what Fran wants you to think. It all does have to do with what's going on the show, and some of it is coded. So,
Good luck.
But seriously, follow us on Twitter. Enter the mind of Zach /us at the Hapless Heroes, and we are also on other social media, Facebook, Instagram. Just look for Hapless Heroes Podcast or Hapless Heroes, and a lot of these places also will have sticky posts or just information in the descriptions and whatnot that also have a link to our Discord server, which is our favorite place to hang out and talk to you, our fans, because we can interact real time, have conversations about everything from other D&D things like world building and all, character creation and all that stuff, for your own games, or talking about the show, talking about sharing pictures of our beautiful pets, or, all the things. It's a great community. We encourage you to come and be a part of it. It's super cool. But if you really like us, you could leave us a 5-star review or rating on the podcast service of your choice. All of those help put this, help contribute to some Al Gore rhythms out there, talking about, making us more visible to more people.
Wait, what's an Al Gore rhythm?
Yeah.
The Al Gore rhythm that
Does Al
makes
Gore
things
even have
appear
rhythm?
more often. I don't know.
Oh, shut up. Get out of here. I quit.
Yeah, I know.
I quit the entire podcast.
Sorry. But anyways, it helps us just, get more visibility and bring more people to this awesome show. But, if your podcast service doesn't allow you to leave a review, or, you just are feeling a little shy, but you still want to say something nice, you can email us at haplessheroes@gmail.com, or go to the 5-star channel in our Discord server and leave us a review, and we will read it on there and tell you how awesome you are. Just like Stay-at-Home Dad here did. I think that's Hido on our Discord server. And they say, Hapless Heroes Podcast, what can I say? You guys and gal have created something really special. I am up to episode 230 at the moment, and with what's left, it won't get me through what I have to for work tonight. So I don't know. You have such a wonderful balance of fun and seriousness, and the shifting DMs really changes perspectives nicely. I love this show and hope you continue it for a long time to come. Well, thank you, Mr. Stay-at-Home Dad. We will do our best to keep this show running for as long as we are physically and mentally able to. Thank you for your kind words. You are a 5-star human.
5 stars.
But if you really, really like us, you can go to our Patreon page. It's just patreon.com/haplessheroes. We have various reward tiers, all different behind-the-scenes audio, different things that we have to offer you. Really sorry if by now our one chip challenge has not made it to air. However, I'm gonna go to the grocery store in the next few weeks and buy one of those fucking things, and we're gonna do it. And I'll find a way to record it for all of us, just so you can see the reactions, and we'll post it up as like a private link for all of you patrons out there to enjoy in our suffering. For those of us who choose to take part. But yeah, just encourage you to check it out again, patreon.com/haplessheroes. And thank you for all of you who've been out there supporting us for so long. It means a lot.
And if you like us, right now, you like us, Sally Field, and the whole deal, go to the Pentagon and say that I'm sure they have like a reception area of the Pentagon, a little greeting area, visitors center. Yeah, that exists, and tell them that you're a time traveler that has smallpox, and they're going to probably either shoot you dead or bring you to some sort of room to seclude you or quarantine you, and then in that room tell whoever is observing you that they should listen to the Hapless Heroes podcast, an original D&D campaign.
Just like that.
Wow.
Say it just like that.
Just like that.
Yeah. Then be like, oh, that's just my smallpox.
Oh my god! What the fuck?
Better be careful. You thought you got rid of it.
Oh god. Speaking
You
of
forgot
getting
about
rid of
time
things, I'm
travel.
gonna go ahead and just get rid of the rest of this episode by outroing our cast, starting on my virtual right this time with John playing Lord Jarrell the Light,
Until next time.
Phil as Cedric the Entertainer,
Don't bother knocking. Let yourself on in.
Zach as Pregnart,
Quack, quack, quack.
Nicole as Boris the Butcher,
I wonder if I have time to eat a box of cookies in here.
Mike as Lord and Captain Quinn Southwind,
What a beautiful, beautiful hoe.
and Dave as Zero, Valen's Avatar of War.
Move along. Don't harass Mr. Rick or his pet duck, thank you.
And I'm Francesco. I've been your host and DM. Tune in next week where now we canonically have a frog that acts like a duck. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
A good night.
Goodbye.